Hello everyone, today I'm going to be using this pretty little stamp set that was free with SImply Cards Papercraft Magazine. I'm going to be using the hydrangea and a couple of the other little bug stamps that are included in the set. It's a really pretty little set and I absolutely love it. I'm using Watercolour card from Crafter's Companion, which is very smooth and 300 GSM, and I'll be stamping in Versafine ink in Onyx black. I'm using the stamp on a rocker block, which I've been recommended lately, and it does actually help give a very clear impression. Because you actually roll the stamp onto the paper, you can line up the bottom of your card easily before you even begin to stamp, so it helps you get very exact positioning. This is Pebeo drawing gum, and I'm going to paint it all over the image to form a mask. It's the only drawing gum that I know of that's actually water soluble, so it doesn't ruin your brushes and completely clears off with a bit of soap and water when you've finished. Once it's completely dry, I'm using Spectrum Noir AquaTints, which is number 02 in the Perfectly Primary set. I'm starting at the top and then just using plain clear water to blend it into an ombre effect. I'm not adding any more ink, just blending the water until I get the gradient that I'm happy with. I left the ink to air dry rather than use a heat gun, and then once it was dry, I'm using this product called Mask Away. It's a kind of rubbery material, and it's a lot easier than doing it with your fingers, although you can still do it with your fingers if you want to. It feels like the soles of some shoes. I think they call it crepe soles. I want to add some clouds into my background, so I'm just painting with clean water and then dabbing with a piece of kitchen towel. This then lightens the ink underneath and gives a very good effect, and the more water that you add, keep going over and over it, the lighter that it will get. It's also a very good way of removing any ink that you might have put somewhere accidentally. You can just lift it off using this technique. A lot of watercolour artists use it in their work to add highlights. Just giving the piece a quick dry now, and I do it on both sides of the card to reduce the curl up. I'm pulling out a few colours of my Zig Clean Colour Real Brush pens. These are watercolour pens, which have a real brush. Obviously that's why they're called what they're called. And I'm blending it in with water and using a couple of colours of green in a lighter and darker shade. For the flowers, I've pulled out a pink and a purple again to get the shading. They're very nice to use and they blend very well. It was one of the best purchases that I think I've made lately. I really love them. And they do blend so nicely that they're a pleasure to work with. You can either use them direct onto the paper, as I'm doing here, and blend them, or else you can scribble a bit onto your mat and then take it from the mat with your brush and use it that way and just blend with water. They've got really beautiful colours as well. The set I've got has 60 pens, but they also come in smaller versions. I think there might be a 15 and a 30 or 35. I think 60 is the largest, but I can't swear to it. There might be a even bigger one now. Anyway, here I'm just going in with the darker pen to add in the shading around the edges, in the centres and in the gaps between the flowers. It really makes the blooms start to pop off the page. Now I've pulled out a bit of black gesso here and mixed it with water because it wouldn't be a mixed media piece if it didn't have some lovely black splatters all over it. So I'm using the fan brush to help it spread out a bit more, just tapping it with a pencil. I thought the background needed just something a little extra added to it, so I'm using this Crackling colour by Viva Decor. This is in white, but it comes in various colours, and it does give a nice crackling effect. I'm using the stencil by Crafter's Workshop. It's quite an old one, but popular, and it always gives a nice look to mixed media pieces, so I'm quite fond of it. I just left the piece to dry naturally after this, and it didn't really take that long. I'm putting that to one side now, and I've pulled out some of the other stamps that were in the set. There's a butterfly, a bee, and a half a butterfly, so I'm just stamping those several times onto white card. I'm not sure exactly how many I'm going to want to use at this stage, so I just printed 3 or 4 sets, and I'm going through again with these Zig clean colour brushes, just colouring them in shades that match the rest of my piece. I'm keeping each side of the butterfly colouring in a symmetrical fashion, as that's the way butterflies are. It's a really cute little stamp set, this one. I think I'll be using those butterflies a lot in other projects. Time for a bit of cutting out, and then I go around all the edges with black marker pen. I also cut off the little feelers and the feet, because I'll just put those in with a pen afterwards. I'm going over each of the diamonds with the blue pen and then rubbing it with the baby wipe, which makes the ink go into the cracks of the crackle paste, but doesn't leave it on the surface of the diamonds. It gives a very nice effect, which you'll see better in close-up photos. I thought the piece needed a border, so I'm using this corner stamp from another stamp set that I have in my stash. Afraid I can't tell you which one it is at the moment. And then I'm just going over again with a black pen and adding some sketchy lines to finish off the frame. And then I begin to glue on all the little tiny pieces. I made a bit of a boo-boo under the B at the top, so I had to position it to cover it up. Still, there's no mistakes in art, just opportunities, as they say. Now I'm adding back in the little feelers and the legs of the bee. I like to matte and layer my pieces when they're finished, so first I'm going on black card, and then I'm going to matte it on a purple shade which matches the purple of the blooms of the flowers, and using some of the Tim Holtz Chitchat words to just pull out a small sentiment which says "Capture the Magic," and I'll glue that into place, and then go around with a charcoal pencil which is water soluble, and I also use it around the bottom of the leaves and the bottom of the plants where natural shading would occur if the light was coming down from the right hand corner. Well, that's it now. There'll be some close-up photos coming at the end which show the colours a lot better than you can see it actually on video, and I hope you'll leave me a thumbs up and a comment. It's nice to interact with you. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.